to Heart. Real people having real conversations about things that matter most to you. I'm Shari Alyse.
I'm Cyrus Webb.
I'm Rich Osagara.
I'm Patrice Tanaka.
And we are Heart to Heart.
Well, yes, I know. I got some caffeine flowing, guys. Cheers.
Cheers to you too.
Welcome to Heart, everybody. If you are watching with us right now, say hello in the chat. Let us know you're here. Let us know how you're feeling. We are so excited to welcome you to our interactive talk show where you get to choose the topic. And lucky enough, you guys get to be our fifth co-host. Grab your favorite cup of anything and join us for the next half hour. Let's go and come bring my team on, bring my friends on. I feel all alone. Hey guys.
Hello.
How y'all feeling?
Really good. It's Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. It's February. Yes, and it's February too. How did that happen?
God,
I know, right? It's crazy.
Crazy. Yes.
Crazy. Look, we got Samantha sending lots of hearts and love.
Hello, Samantha.
Hello, you guys. I'm so excited
Cody.
I'm so excited for our show today because a little bit later we are into the new segment of our show where we're going to be sharing the heart-to-heart vault.
Yes.
Like, ooh. And for those of you who are first tuning in for the first time, what that is each week we ask you to send us in questions because this show is all about talking about things that matter to you, not things that we're inspired by or what we think that we should talk about, but important conversations that revolve around what matters to you. So we got some questions in, we asked for your votes, and so we're going to be revealing at 1:15 which question you want us to have a heart-to-heart about. Yes. You guys nervous about that?
Totally.
Very.
Yeah, and you know what's really funny is that some of the questions that came in, you guys got, and I mean guys literally, got really nervous about those.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It made me a little hot, but not for the reason of the question.
Terry says, good morning from Clackamas County, Oregon.
Yes, Terry's
Hello,
in the
Terry.
house. I know Terry.
Awesome. Cyrus, yesterday, and I know all of us here got to watch this. So for those of you who don't know Cyrus very well, or may have seen Cyrus in the media, he's usually very stoic. I mean, he's serious. I mean, he shows his lighter side. But yesterday we got to see this. I've been your friend for 10 years. I got to see this side of you. That was so fun. He had an interview with his mom. How was that?
That was the scariest of all of the people, the 9,943 people I've interviewed in my life. That was the scariest. And honestly, it was her first time, Shari, that she had agreed to come on the show. So it was, we're getting ready to hit our big milestone of 10,000 guests next week. And I said, look, you're not getting any younger. And after I hit 10,000, I don't know if I'm even going to let you on. So you need to go ahead and come on. So anyway, no, she agreed. But you're right. That was, everyone commented on that because it was different, right? Because she has seen another side of me that you guys see a little bit of, right? I mean, she's seen the whole thing. So it was a lot of fun, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. At my expense, it seems like, but I'm glad they enjoyed it.
Yeah, we want more of Mom. So
yeah.
Oh boy, she was really feeling herself afterwards. I have to say, she had to show it to her husband last night, and then this morning she was sending the YouTube link out to people.
I was going to say, I don't think your mom didn't seem so shy. She seems like she loves the spotlight.
Right.
Yeah. She gets that from my brother. My brother gets it from her. It's a funny thing though, because my mom and I, as we said in the interview, we've had an interesting relationship, mainly because you guys may not believe this, but I can be kind of opinionated.
What?
So, I know. It's a shocker to everybody. And so to be strong-willed and be strong-minded and independent and then to still be a son doesn't always go together. And I was able to, because I started working so early, able to call the shots pretty early in my life, without her, with no threat of her telling me to get out, because I was like, okay, I can buy you and this house, but I mean, it was funny though, for her to be able to see, to see what I have done, and to see that I haven't lost myself along the way. I'm still, as you heard her say, I'm still the same individual that I've always been.
Well, and you also seem to have a master too, which I loved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a funny conversation. Yeah, she loves calling Amazon my master.
Yeah,
I think what I love
on our show, so we can interview her about you.
Oh my! Oh,
that's a great idea.
I think what I love so much about watching you and your mom together is just being able to see the special relationship that we can have with our parents, and how they influence us and how they inspire us, and how we are so much like them or not like them. Yeah. Because I know that for a lot of us, we see the mistakes that our parents make, and we sometimes go, well, I'm not going to be anything like that. And then we end up finding out later on that we end up being just like them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So, I wanted to ask you guys, and I want to know, for those of you who are watching too, our parents, or really anyone influential in your life, I'm curious for you guys, like, what has been like a lesson or something, or some wisdom that has been imparted on you from your mom, dad, grandparents, or anything that has really stuck with you and maybe shaped who you are as a person today?
Well, I'd love to say something. I can remember, as you asked that question, I remember being a kid. My parents got divorced when I was 7, and that's when I learned that money is a thing. And my mom had to start working. She was a housewife, stay-at-home house mom before that. And there was some song that we would hear on the radio, and we had an 8-track in the those.
Yeah, I love those.
And these lyrics said, "If you don't work, you don't eat." And we would sing that song, and it kind of became like this little secret joke with us, this mantra. And my mom really taught me that in like real time, like, if you don't work, we don't eat. And she's such a giver and such a hard worker, and always just figures out, no matter what the diversions are that come her way, she always figures out how to overcome it, and with so much grace and style. And that has always made a big impression on me. And so I think about that as you ask that question. Like, I learned the value of, if you don't work, you don't eat, and you got to take care of yourself, and go do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. And I love hearing you say, like, that she handles things with so much grace.
Yeah.
Because that's not always, we all don't always get that example of, handling challenges and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
In her high heels.
Mom.
Yeah. Samantha says, sending head boobs and purrs from both my sweet kitties, Luna and Lucy. Well, thank you, Luna, Lucy. And I don't know if you're purring too, Samantha, but thanks.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my late mom too. The words that ring in my ears till this day are what she used to say to us growing up. I mean, it was always, we'd run out to go play with our friends, and she would say, don't forget to share your cookies and toys. That was her whole big thing, share your cookies and toys. And it was so bad that when kids would come over and we would play, we would always be afraid that if we didn't share our cookies and toys, mom would just take it and give it to the other kid. I mean, that's how, so in self-defense, we were always giving stuff away because mom would come swooping in and make us do that. And many years ago, after I was an adult, I was asked to submit the best piece of business advice I had ever gotten. And they asked like a few hundred CEOs. And so I shared that the best piece of advice I ever got that has served me from the playground to the boardroom is what my mom taught me, which is share your cookies and toys. Because if you don't share, who's going to want to play with you on the playground or in the boardroom, right?
So I love that. I love that, Patrice. And speaking of share, you guys, please go ahead and share this show while you're watching. Lift somebody else up, inspire somebody with this show. What about you, Cyrus?
I think I shared it yesterday with the interview with my mom. Really, the thing that stood out to me growing up, and even though, at the beginning of my life, of course, I was with her. Then my grandmother, I was with her growing up. But the lesson was treat everyone the way you want to be treated. And I think that's the mantra I've lived by my entire life, I believe, at this point, is that my mom, she didn't have a lot. We didn't have a lot growing up. But she was the type of person who she would, as Patrice was saying, she would give you her last. But she also believed, as Rich was saying about his mom, that she believed in working hard. And I got that from her, got that from my stepdad, and also from my grandmother, the importance of not waiting on other people, but to go out and to make your own. And I think that's one of the things that's really got me. And what about you, Shari? What lesson have you been able to? I read your book, Shari.
Don't make me go back into my book and try to think about that.
But no, seriously, what lessons have you kind of taken from your parents growing up?
Well, my mom actually, just what you said, she taught us the golden rule. I remember just from the time I was young, Shari, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I never understood really what that was until I finally started understanding what that really was. And so leading with kindness, leading with compassion, leading with just all the ways that I want to be treated, I make sure that I extend that. And she also would say, don't burn your bridges, don't burn your bridges.
Yeah.
And so that's a big one that stuck with me too. So even when I've parted old relationships, like romantic ones or business relationships, I still always make sure, because I've been somebody that's always felt like, well, if you loved someone at some point or they were important to you at some point, unless they've done something completely, crazy, how do you just stop loving or caring for someone? Yeah. So I've maintained those relationships. And then with my dad, I just want to say, because he's such an emotional person and he never actually said these words, but he wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think that I've absolutely inherited that from him. And I think it's important to share that and show that to people, to be that. So.
And I've met your father. He's awesome. Robert, if you're watching, hello. But you also, I think your dad's hilarious, and so are you. So I think that funny.
That rubbed off.
Yes, you definitely have some of that too.
Thank you. Thanks. I'm going to start my stand-up career. Maybe not so much.
We'll be a duo.
Guys,
sorry, go ahead, Cyrus.
No, I was just going to say, guys, Samantha shared that her grandfather taught her that every coin adds up. And her grandmother taught her to be less hard on herself and saying the best is all you can do. You can never do any better than your best. And I think both of those are great. Samantha, thank you for sharing this. And I'm the same way too. I'm an intense guy, but I'm also a guy who tries to enjoy the journey. And so I love that, because I think, even for I think that's a lesson I learned growing up. You can't, stressing doesn't change it. So let's try to ride the wave and make the most of the experience and see what you can learn from it. And I think that seems like what Samantha was able to do.
I think that's a really great lesson, Cyrus, that you're saying, especially with the world as it is.
Yeah.
We can stress about everything, or we can try to find the gift, which is very airy-fairy sounding, right? But, there's, my mom's watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
We were just talking.
Hi, Yolanda. I remember you from last week.
We have the opportunity to find the gift. And that's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
But the other option is to be a victim about it.
Yeah. And to that point, my mother was an incredibly magnificent and generous and loving person. Everyone was her friend. She was always feeding and kissing all the children, that came into, our house and in our yard. My father was a polar opposite. He didn't really like other people. And we wondered if he even liked us. I mean, he was just so, he wouldn't say 2 words if he could get away with saying 1 word. And so when my mother died, all of a sudden we were left with my dad, who didn't really engage with us. But because my mom wasn't there, and he couldn't subcontract the relationship with us to my mom, right? So he had to engage with us. So we asked him a lot of questions. And in the process, what I learned about my dad was that his own father was 10 times worse. And I realized that my dad was doing the best that he could.
Yeah.
And I only understood that, later in life, when I talked to him and found out about his childhood. So I think appreciating people where they are and, what they can give where they are is really a good thing. That was the best he could do.
I love that. And I love all the lessons that our parents have taught us just by being themselves or the things that they've said. And we would love to continue to hear from you guys in the chat, whether now or after the show, about lessons that you've learned. But for right now, we are what? Well, the whole entire reason why we started this show was for you guys. And so we've asked for you to send in questions. And today we will be revealing it. So first, Tracy, it's time to open up the heart-to-heart ball. You guys, it's so dramatic.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome.
So for those of you tuning in, the 3 questions that came in this week for us, the first one they wanted us to address was about menopause and depression. And I'm not going to lie, the 2 men here went, and then after they got over that,
yeah.
We got a second question that came in, which was really about how to handle people who inquire things about you personally that may not be any of your business. And that's a nice way of saying people that talk to you about, why don't you have children? And then the last question that came in was about exercise and how do we begin to perceive exercise more as medicine rather than a chore. And so we asked you guys to vote and the answers came in, and Tracy is going to share with us which one got the most votes. Okay. Oh, I love that graphic. So the main question is, how can working out be seen as medicine and not a chore? Thank you, Joanne. Joanne, we hope that you're watching with us. Woo, you guys, exercise. First of all, with a show of hands, who here exercises? Okay, great. All right, well, we're done. Who here is an expert on exercise?
Not me.
Okay, so I'm just going to place this out there every single week, you guys. We are not experts,
Right?
But what we are human beings who, are doing, as Patrice said or Dad said, doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
And so I'd love if any of you guys have any thoughts on this. Rich, hand up first. Go ahead.
Funny, because this was the question I hoped. So I was trying to think.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I've worked out all my life. As you have to in grade school and especially high school, and then it just became part of my life. And there was a time when I was known for my physique.
On stages?
On stages? On stages, I'm known for something else.
Shari, his mom is watching.
I know.
But he's a gymnast.
As I got older, especially in the last few years, and before the pandemic, even, they say after you turn about 30, your body changes, and I never wanted to believe that, but it's true for all of you who aren't 30 yet. Things start to change, and as I got older, it became more of a chore to try to keep myself up. And then the last couple of years, I have a herniated disc in my lower back, and that impedes my range of motion. And especially in this last year, it really has kicked in. And so exercise for me is a daily thing that I grapple with, because, you know, I see younger guys, you know, on TikTok and other videos, and I'm like, in my brain, I look like that. But in the mirror, I don't look like that.
I can relate.
Yeah, right. And now it's like, I love this question about how can it be medicine, because it really is. The older I get, the more I realize how precious life is, and how this bag of bones and skin is what I get to go through this earth plane in. And if I don't take care of it, then, you know, the ride might be shorter than I'd like. And so I'm doing basic things like walking. And the great thing of having the dog is I have to get out and walk the dog. But I do exercises in the morning to help strengthen my lower back, and so that I can get myself to another place where I can be a bit more aggressive with you know, getting my body back to how I know it used to be, or I would like it to be. But it's a real challenge, because it's easier not to do it. But when I don't, my body tells me. And so now shifting to this is helpful versus a chore it's a mindset thing for me. And it only happens with practice, actually doing it, like getting on the floor and doing these basic exercises. It's a daily question. So I guess I would just say, for those of you who are not in that position yet, create the habit now, and stick with it, because later in life, it'll serve you well.
Yeah.
Cody says, I love the bundling idea of adding something you enjoy to the things that you don't. I'm just going to say this quickly, because I hate the gym. I hate any of that kind of stuff, but I love hiking. And so what I do is I create a ritual out of something. So I find something that I love doing. And for me, my medicine is being out in nature, having that connection. And the bonus is exercise. So I think, you know, in order to not make it a chore, find something that you love. Tracy and I talked about this, and I'm just going to call her out on it. She loves to dance. She dances naked. I know that might be TMI around the house, but she just does what she loves, and I do what I love. And so it's a type of healing, and that's my medicine, you know, is to do that.
Yeah.
You know, to go along with what you were just saying, Shari, Holly Kinley says, do what you love. Although I power walk almost every day during the pandemic, I returned to swimming. It has been my therapy. You know, for me, you know, I could kind of relate a little bit to what Rich was saying, other than I have not, you know, growing up, you know, I was a short kid, so I was always mindful. Not that anyone said anything to me, but for myself, I was mindful of, you're short, so you can't go up. So you don't want to go out. So you need to do what you need to do to stay kind of. Hey, I'm just being honest. So and then especially when I started getting more in the public, it became more of a way, honestly, for me to kind of decompress. So that's how I look at it. I do an hour. I split up into 30 minutes, 2 30-minute segments every day. And so it helps me not only, of course, to feel better, but also to kind of break the monotony of the day. So, I mean, that's what I would say. I mean, do something that's fun. Like I will do, like if I had fried chicken one day, I'll get on the trampoline for half an hour, you know, and I mean, with, you know, just some music. I'm not doing it naked, Tracy. That's, I mean, I'm adventurous, but not that adventurous.
Next show, we're all dancing naked.
Interesting. Naked trampoline. Okay. But I'm with Shari. I hate exercising. So for many years, I used to do ballroom dancing and play tennis, because I love those two things, and I don't put them in the category of exercise, but you know, you get a lot of exercise doing that. Sure. But with the pandemic and sheltering in place, you know, I couldn't play tennis really, and I couldn't really dance in person. And so I did nothing for months, because like I said, I don't really like exercise, until recently, and I know Rich is on it too. I got onto Noom, which I really actually liking quite a bit. And, you know, you have to put in your steps every day. So I have to do 7,500 steps, and I really should be doing 10,000. But since I usually do it indoors and I'm walking the hallways of my building and having walking meetings. And now I'm listening to podcasts. And so it's like I have a commute, but I don't have to leave my building. So I'm kind of doing that and putting in, at least 8,000 steps a day. And then I started working with a personal trainer, a friend of mine who does this via Zoom. And at first I was dreading and hating this and complaining the whole way. But now I actually look forward to it because it's a mix of yoga, stretching, Pilates, weight training. So, I said I get bored with training. So every session is different, which I like. So I don't get bored as easily. But
I was going to say that. Mix it up. Yeah, mix it up. Like you just said, Patrice, I think that because Joanne asked, like for her, obviously the mindset is chore. So how can we not make it a chore? So it sounds like to make it fun, to mix it up, to, even Cyrus said 2 30-minute things a day, like do small amounts, just I don't know about you guys, but when I started, like before, like I'm going to join the gym, like John and I, we called ourselves gym rats, which is so funny because we're just so not athletic, but we would be walking to the gym every day and we went every day for 30 days and we work out for so long. And then all of a sudden we stopped because we just pushed ourselves too hard. So find moderation in it, and this medicine that she said, Joanne, I love that you called it medicine. Like, I think you already have the proper mindset because medicine is all about healing and feeling better, getting better. And so maybe just that mindset alone is enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's a whole psychology about habits. And what you were just talking about, Shari, doing things in small amounts to build up the habit of it is the way to go. Because when we jump full in, and that's normally how I go about things. It's like, here's a new thing, do it all. But that doesn't create a lasting habit. So when we do things in small amounts and then build that up incrementally, then we lay a much stronger foundation to help us stay on track. And I'm seeing all these comments about dancing in the feed here. And I have to say, one of my favorite things to do for exercise is dancing. And there's a particular modality called 5 rhythms, which is a moving meditation. And there's no specific steps. You get to dance how your body wants to dance, but it's a journey that you go on that is fantastic. And the cool thing, a gift of the pandemic, I guess, if you will, is that many of these things we used to have to be in person for happen on your computer or your phone. Everything's transitioned. So there's really no excuses. Another cool thing is Daybreaker, which used to have these early morning events all around the world, and people would get up at 6 a.m. to go dance to amazing music, totally sober. It's like a sober zone. And I used to go to those too. And now you can sign up for Dose, they call it, which is designed psychologically to release dopamine and serotonin and oxytocin. Each of the little dance vignettes that you could participate in is designed to stimulate the neurotransmitters that make us happy and help us as medicine to heal our bodies. So there's so many cool things out there that we can do.
Ultimately, what we have to do is we have to do what feels good to us, because if it doesn't feel good to us, we're not going to show up for it. And it's not just for exercise, that's for anything in our lives. So don't jump on the bandwagon, what everybody else is doing. Just sit with yourself and ask yourself, what do I want to do? What feels good? What's fun? And then do more of that.
Yep.
So you guys, it's been so much fun digging into Joanne's question. I'm sorry for, well, I'm not sorry, because I swear to you guys, I want to get to this menopause question just because everybody is so against it.
All right.
Well,
I think we have to, after all the resistance.
It actually came in second place as the thing that's most discussed. So menopause and depression.
Send us new questions, people.
Yeah. If you all want your questions answered here on Heart to Heart, or for us to have I don't know if we've actually given you answers or more just little quips and fun, but no, if you actually want your question to be covered here in our show, email us at hearttohearttalkshow@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to cover, and we would love for you to be a part of the conversation. We want to thank all of you guys that have been here today with us, watching live, joining in. You are the reason why that we do this every single week. And if you want to stay connected to everything Heart to Heart, then please text us the word heart at 310-349-3891, and you will be updated. As always, Patrice, Cyrus, Rich, it's been my most pleasure. Is that even a thing? It's been, I obviously didn't, never mind. It's been a pleasure to hang out with you guys as always. You all have a great week. Don't forget to tune in next Wednesday as we open up again the Heart to Heart Vault. So make sure that you're taking care of your heart and one another's. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
See you next week.
See ya.